It is a privilege. No, it's an honor to address you today. First of all, I well up when I look at flags. 100 countries. How many dialects are spoken, languages? I wonder, is Bronx a dialect? Is that one of the dialects spoken? Bronx? Bronx.
Boogie down.
Boogie down, Bronx. Add that to one of the languages, for sure. I am a native son of the Bronx. Let me see how much Bronx I could share with you. When I was born, we lived in the hillside homes on Hicks Street in the Bronx. As the family got larger, we needed to move to a bigger apartment. Didn't have much money, moved into the housing projects on Castle Hill Avenue. Castle Hill Housing Projects. Those are my earliest memories. I attended PS 36. And then my father, who valued education, as did his parents, my grandparents. My grandmother had an 8th grade education. It didn't go beyond that, not because she didn't value it, but because the opportunities were not there for her at a time where she needed to raise her siblings and others in the family. But the valuation was there. My father, yes, would graduate college. His income would go up. We had to move out of the housing projects. Remember, they're income capped. We moved from there to Riverdale, the Bronx. And that was surreal, going from housing projects to an apartment building with a doorman. Not only a doorman, a swimming pool, and an ice rink. In different seasons, of course. That was surreal for me. These were the Skyview apartments in the Bronx. That's when I fell in love with the universe after a first visit to the Hayden Planetarium. I walked dogs, earned money, bought my first telescope, took it to the roof of that building, and that's where I drank in the universe. Oh, by the way, those buildings, we moved in 60 years ago. Those buildings had picketers out front to prevent black people from moving in. Within a year of that, there'd be housing legislation in Congress preventing that. So these are forces of social justice. I didn't realize, I didn't think much of it at the time because I'm just a kid. But my father was a sociologist. And you know where he taught sociology 60 years ago? At Bronx Community College. And when you're 8, there's nothing more complex than have your parents talk to you about sociology, communities, races, nations, attitudes, civil rights. These were complex issues, but I had that exposure. The meaning and value of caring about the plight of others. The progressive forces that needed to be put into play. Yes, I knew I wanted to be a scientist from very early. But that doesn't happen unless walls are broken down, opportunities rise up, so that I can realize my dreams. I can tell you that at no time in my life have I ever forgotten the value of the effort put in by others to try to make this world a better place. Is there any higher calling than that? And my father had special ways of doing this. He also taught history at Bronx Community College, and he would mix together different aspects of the world. It's not just history in a vacuum. There are social movements, cultural movements, political movements. There's all manner of other art movements going on at any given time, all cross-pollinating. That is the total structure of society. It's not just one thing or another. And yes, science is unfolding while that's happening. We are going to the moon. You have a moon tree. Did you see it walking by here? On the way out, if you don't know, you have a moon tree. There's a tree guarded. It is a sapling of a sycamore, American sycamore, from seeds that flew around the moon 2 years ago in the Artemis 1 mission of NASA. So you have a tree that has seen the far side of the moon. Now, why do I mention that? Why should anyone care? Because it's kind of just a tree. But wait a minute, you got to pause and reflect on that for a moment. It went into space. Oh, you know something true about space? See all the flags waving? In space, there is no air. And where there is no air, flags do not wave. Arthur C. Clarke observed, maybe that means space is no place for nations. It's a place for humans, regardless of nations. That's a point of ambition. I don't even know if we're ready for that yet. So much of who we think we are, or know we are, comes from our culture, our nations, our flag, what side of a line in the sand you're born on. I get that. But you know something? When the asteroid comes, it's not going to ask you what your nationality is. When a pandemic virus hits, it's not going to be stopped at passport control. It will cross boundaries without regard to the lines we have artificially drawn to divide us. And so when I look at what we need to do, yes, we celebrate diversity, something that was never celebrated before. Oh my gosh, old-timers here will remember that. You're an outsider your whole life, removed from opportunity. The fact that there's opportunity for all of us, almost all of us, is progress. And more progress still needs to be achieved. Yes. But how do you achieve? I'll tell you how you achieve. Yes, this graduation is an achievement, but I hope it is the least achievement in your life. I don't know who's ever told you that. I'm telling it to you now. I hope it's the least achievement you can put on your resume. Because when you get out and enter the real world, two kinds of people in the workplace. One of them, you give them a task, and they say, this is not on my resume, it was not in my job description, I'm not going to do this. Another person says, wow, this was not on my resume and not on my job description, but it's a really cool problem, I want to try to solve it. Two different kinds of people. One of them solves problems they've never seen before. The other one is ossified, frozen in whatever they thought was their academic achievement. You know who that first category is? Those are the people, after graduation, they run down the steps, say, school's out, and they toss their books and papers in the air, and that's the end of their learning. Those people become grown-ups who have no way to look beyond their tunnel vision, because the world that was set for them when they stepped out of school is the world they carry with them for the rest of their lives. And that is counter to any kind of progress that would ever happen in this world. So you should think as you go forward. Don't ask yourself, what do I need to know to have the job in the future? Jobs in the future are not going to be handed out by your base of knowledge. No. In the end, it will never be about what you know. It'll be about how is your brain wired for thought. These are two different things. And love me some 4.0 GPA, don't get me wrong, but 5 years from now, nobody's going to ask you what your GPA was. Ask any grown-up out here in the outer fence, in the tents, any of you, when was the last time someone asked you your GPA? What they asked you, were you a hard worker? Are you a problem solver? Are you moral? Are you committed? Those are the kinds of things that actually matter going forward. So, you put all that together, and I want to add one other thing. Just to give a shout out for people who took physics. We got some physics people, a couple of physics people, okay? Do you realize when you go into a hospital, every machine brought into the service of diagnosing the condition of your body without first cutting you open is based on a principle of physics discovered by a physicist who had no interest in medicine. So there's no progress in medicine without the tandem research that goes on in the world of physics, and especially engineering as well. That's just one example of many I could give to impart upon you the following blunt fact: that everything we value and what we call civilization is not one line of thought, is multiple tributaries of expertise and commitments made by people devoting their lives to making discoveries that come together in new and innovative ways. And that's what shapes the future of civilization. So, you don't say, here's my expertise and I don't care about anything else. Go home if that's how you think about the world. Go home. Your library at home should have books about it all. Literature, history, science, engineering, languages, all of this, health, just so you have some sensitivity of what's going on. Because if you don't, I don't want to say what good are you, but yeah, what if you don't, you're less useful, that's all. And don't you want to be a little useful to the world? There's a quote from the great educator Horace Mann. This I want on my tombstone. This is 200 years ago. Great educator Horace Mann, speaking in the flourish of language of English of the era. I beseech you to treasure up in your hearts these my parting words. Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity. And I will leave you with those thoughts. Thank you all.
I am so honored to be here today, and thank you, of course, to Dean Machkovsky, family, friends, faculty, staff, and the great class of 2024. As I have heard from both the alumni and your speaker, what a class, my goodness. Your own personal stories, your history is so impressive, and I know how much sacrifice you have had to be here today, and so I am just incredibly honored to be here. I am especially mindful at this moment of the importance of what we do, because I am watching the profound changes happening in Syria. I'm a longtime foreign correspondent, and so this means a great deal to me. It was a country that I covered from the beginning of my career, and right now, dozens of journalists are inside that country, and they are bringing people vital information about events that will shape the future of the Middle East and impact us here at home. And so I am very mindful of the importance of what we do. I've gotten to know a few of you already, as I was able to speak with the students of Alia Malik's cross-cultural journalism class. Shout out to you. I talk to her class every year. You guys ask really hard questions. You helped me prepare for my Vance interview. That went a certain kind of way, so thanks. I had you in my head the whole time. As we've heard, journalism is in a bit of a state. Journalism, as we've been told, is dead. We apparently live in a post-fact world. No one trusts us, and on and on and on. It is a cadence that you're going to hear over and over again. And yes, I'm not going to lie, it's a tough time in our industry. We are in a profound period of transformation. But this is the good news. You will help guide the next iteration of what we do. And no one, including me, has it figured out yet. You might work in podcasts like I do. You might work at a traditional newspaper, whatever incarnation that looks like. And through AI, you might be working in something that we haven't even thought of yet. But what we do will remain the same. And so I wanted to talk to you today about some eternal truths that I have dealt with and understood through my own career in journalism. And I was trying to think about what I wanted to know when I graduated from journalism school, like you, with my master's. I know some of you already have years of experience in journalism, but I was not a working journalist when I achieved my master's. And I learned about my profession the hard way. I messed up, I did a lot of dumb stuff, and I figured what I was doing on the fly. I don't recommend that as a path, just FYI, but you're already so far ahead of me because of the incredible work that you've had here. So here's a few things that I've understood, and because I'm trying to do it in the new journalism way, it's a list. It's a list, friends. You get a list from me. Number one, don't be cynical. The world is a fascinating place, and people will often surprise and delight you. Number two, that said, everybody lies. Everybody. The government, the so-called good guys, the bad guys. I wish I'd known this. I really didn't. Sometimes they don't think that they're lying, and sometimes they know that they're lying. I remember showing up at the site of a bombing in Iraq. There was this giant crater. And one person came up to me and said that a U.S. helicopter had fired a missile. Another told me that it was the result of a suicide bomber. Someone else said that a generator had exploded. I discarded that one pretty quickly. Now, those people may not have been deliberately lying, or they may have believed what they were telling me, or they may have been trying to lie to me. But the hard work of journalism is trying to piece together in any given situation what happened. How do you do that? You talk to as many people as you can, which is what I did in that chaotic situation. And this is the thing, listening is your most important skill. Don't sit there waiting to ask the next question. Listen to what people are telling you. Number three, show curiosity and empathy, especially when you're dealing with people who do not have power. Our greatest asset is that we are humans talking to other humans. Take that, AI. Yes, we are humans talking to other humans, and it still matters. People like to talk about themselves, for the most part, if they think the person listening is truly interested. So don't rush a conversation, even if you're in deadline, and be transparent about what you want. As journalists, we are often tasked with talking to people when their lives have fallen apart on the worst day of their lives. And you should be respectful of that. You should be kind and sensitive to that. Number four, journalism is not a popularity contest, in case you were under any misapprehension, which I'm pretty sure you're not. We are often disliked. So lean into it. Don't be afraid of being irritating or getting doors slammed in your face or being told no and no and no again or being called a loud Latina and a diva and whatever else. We do this job because of the public's right to information. Journalists have always been in a battle with those who want to discredit them for their own purposes. I've been expelled from Cuba. I've been shoved into a tiny Russian-made car called a Lada, just like the movies, taken to the airport and asked very politely not to come back. I've also been pushed into a closet with an armed guard outside a U.S. military base in Iraq because I pissed people off, because they thought that I was exposing something that they did not want exposed. I don't need people in power to love me. I need them to answer my damn questions. Number 5, the best advice I received was that you can do the same story over and over and over. The great NPR journalist Deb Amos told me the first time you do a story is when you realize it's a story. The second time is when your editor realizes it's a story. And the third time is when the public realizes it's a story, which is to say, follow your curiosity and your passions. It will guide you. Number 6, the criticism of you and your work, as we heard here today, will sometimes be unfair. If you are a woman, they will harp on your tone. Recent review, Lulu's tone is so annoying. If you are anything other than a white man, they will say you're biased. If you are a white man but work for the fact-based media, they'll say you have an agenda. It's extremely annoying, I won't lie. But also keep in mind that some criticism will be fair. You have to listen to your audience. You will get things wrong. The key is to take in what matters and ignore the rest. Number 7, I think the word bias should be removed from our lexicon. I really do. It's been weaponized. It's the question I most get asked by the public, and as I always say, I am biased for facts. I'm trying to do my job. I have opinions that shape my worldview, as does everyone. I think in order to be trusted, we should be transparent about that. But for a profession that is about communication, we do a terrible job explaining to the public what we do and why we do it. We are the emissaries of the people, but the people don't really know that. When we sit down with people in power, we represent everyone that isn't there, but will be affected by that person's decisions. And when we report on the victims in our society, we do so to elevate their concerns. Fairness and facts should be our calling cards. The bias, that's not something we should be talking about. I can't say this enough. Your perspective, your lived experience matters. You carry a world of expertise simply by virtue of what you've done and where you've lived and who you are. Don't ever erase that. Don't let others make you doubt it. It's your superpower. But always go into a story prepared to be surprised. Challenge your own assumptions. Ask questions you really don't know the answer to. Follow a conversation down an unexpected path. We are in the business of discovery, not confirming conventional wisdom. Okay, 9. Here's a few things in no particular order that didn't quite fit, but whatever. They're important. Number 1, editors can be your greatest friends and champions, or they can be your deepest enemies. Which camp they fall into depends on how much they like my story on a given day. So that's important. Editors are actually making your story better, but it's okay to respectfully fight with them because you're also trying to make your story better. And mine's sitting right there. That's why I put that in. A scarf is a journalist's best friend. It can be a blanket. It can cover your face from tear gas. It can make you look awesome. Never be too busy to eat on the road. Some of my best experiences have been sitting down for good food in a new place. And always, always accept someone's offer of food if you're interviewing them or they ask you to come into their house. It's the best way to talk to them, to meet them, to break bread with someone, allows you to communicate, to earn their trust. And in that way, you'll do your job better. Finally, as we've heard, I know the landscape can seem so daunting, but you decided this is what you want to do because you recognize that journalists, trained, empathetic, ambitious journalists like you have a vital role to play in our country, in our world, and in our democracy. I believe in journalism, and I believe in you. Graduating class of 2024, I'm going to tell you the biggest secret now. Wherever you end up working, remind yourself that they need you more than you need them. You are important. You are the future. Actually, better than all that, you are the present. Welcome, new colleagues. I cannot wait to see what you do.
Today, as we stand on the threshold of our future, I'm reminded of the unique journey that each of us has undertaken to reach this milestone. Over 130 countries are represented at John Jay. Over 50% of those students are first-generation college students. Some of us come from humble beginnings, while others were born into privilege. Some of us come from single-parent households, and some, like my parents, have journeyed across borders in pursuit of a brighter tomorrow. But regardless of our differences, we are not just graduates. We are pioneers of possibility, symbols of resilience, and testaments to the transformative power of education. We are the embodiment of social mobility. We are living proof that our origins do not dictate our destinations. With that being said, on a day as remarkable as today, we will often get questions of, what now? What career are you planning to pursue? And how much money are you going to make? It is important that during these times, we do not fall into the trap of chasing someone else's ideal life. Because although we are often told what success looks like, true fulfillment lies in embracing our passions, not society's expectations. For some of us, success is getting that car we've always wanted, or getting that high-paying job. For others, success may manifest in more intangible ways, such as finding purpose and fulfillment in both your life and work. Or some find success in just making a positive impact on the world. The point is, success comes in many forms, and it is as diverse as each of us gathered here today. So on our mission to success, it is crucial that it is our version. That our version uses our passions to serve as our compass, guiding us to become the masters of our own stage, to be the only person that we perform for, to be the only ones in the audience. It is equally important to note that on your mission to your own versions of success, not everyone will see your vision. Quite frankly, not everyone will support you. However, whether or not they can see it in you, you must see it within yourself. You must have that unwavering belief within yourself that you are capable of achieving this. And it is during these transformative periods of our lives that we must remind ourselves that we cannot let others' limitations on themselves serve as limitations for ourselves. So with that being said, I would like to congratulate the graduating class of 2024, and I would also like each of you to truly look within yourselves and ask you these two questions. Who are you when the curtains close and the applause fades? Who are you when you are not performing for the people inside of your mind? Thank you.
To the students who are graduating today, you may have heard philosophers say, ideas rule the world, while the poets say, stories rule. What do you say? Why can't a story be embedded in an idea and an idea be a part of story? Can't ideas and stories combine? What happens to an idea if the one who conceives it is no longer around to realize it? What happens to a story if the one who has lived it dies? Who will tell your story if you take it with you to the tomb? Where do stories go to die? While you think on that, let me share this with you. A year before I lost my last surviving sibling, a package came for me in the mail. It was filled with the usual family memorabilia, cards, letters, photographs, scribbled notes on loose sheets of paper, all brown and crumbling. I recognized some of the photos. As a child, I had seen them sitting atop the piano in my mother's living room. There was my mother's only brother, Curtis, in his Army uniform, her sister Margaret in her Air Force uniform, two of my older brothers in their Army uniforms, and the real kicker, my grandfather's draft cards, one from World War I and one from World War II. I knew my grandfather had been a railroad man who dabbled in farming, but Grandpa, as a soldier, where had that story been all these years? Who had kept it from me? Was it he who had left the scribbled notes? One note read, "Guard your soul," or was it meant to be read, "Guard your soul"? Was that his way of talking to us from the grave? As children, do you remember the questions your parents refused to answer for you? If the topic was too hot, your parents' standard answer was, "None of your business," which was shortened to "none ya." And then you get that backhand swatting like they were swatting away the flies. Those none ya answers is how we missed out on the beginning, middle, and end of a story. Don't let none ya stop you now. Keep pursuing the questions that haunt you until the haunting is no more. The story will write itself. So what's your story? Who knows your story better than you? Who can tell it better or write it better than you? In this age of open mic, pop-up invites for those of you who like to write, self-publication, freedom of information, who are you waiting for? Godot? Grab that poem or that story and go and share it with someone. In the words of the poet Jane Cortez, what's that title? Find your own voice and use it. Don't let none of you block your story, and never surrender your dream. Never.
Class of 2024. But it's hot today, but you made it, all right? And are you ready to take on the world or what? And I'm so honored to be your borough president. And of course, I want to thank President Adams and all of the faculty here who made this day possible. And I want to thank each and every one of you for choosing LaGuardia. And as I look out into this crowd, I see what makes this school and this borough so special. I see people from all walks of life, all races, all religions, all backgrounds, all identities, and all orientations. And I see immigrants who came to Queens in search of opportunity, like the one you'll realize today when you walk across the stage to get your degree. And I'm proud my sister's a graduate of LaGuardia Community College, my biological, actually, Kalila Richards, who's done really well for herself. I see first-generation Americans like myself, whose parents sacrificed so much in order for their son to go to college and graduate from college. And now I was the first person, raise your hand if you're the first person in your family to go to college and to graduate. And I was one of you. And matter of fact, I often tell my story of being born to teenage parents and also the Queen story of many of our family members coming from other places. And my father had the honor of becoming a United States citizen in 2020. In the first election, believe it or not, he can vote in was mine for borough president. So not too bad, right? So you never know where your story will lead you. And of course, if you raise your hand, never forget those who helped you to get to this day, and to never forget your ability to do great things in this world. Of course, I see a brighter future for this borough, this city, this country, and this world, knowing you are the people who are going to lead us into the future. And there's so much inequality in this world, but education is the great equalizer. Education is the key that unlocks the potential of our communities and our society. The education you received here at LaGuardia has put you in an incredible position to make a difference in the world. And each of you is on the path to prosperity, but that path will not always be clear. Let me say that again. So graduates, my advice to all of you today is this: keep an open mind. Understand that even if the path your life takes is not the path you envision, and trust me, there will be a fork in everyone's road. There is possibility and promise around every bend. It's okay to not know where your road will lead you. And if you don't know that, I have a degree in aviation and I'm the borough president. And it was an unfortunate incident that actually led me here. Ken talked about 11 years. This will be my 21st year in government. I got started at 19 because of the murder of a childhood friend of mine, Arnell Patterson, in South Jamaica. So I turned that pain of seeing him in his casket into purpose. So you never know where you will end up at, but turn your pain into purpose. And when you walk across that stage today with your eyes up and smiles all on up, I want you to internalize that feeling of pride. I want you to commit yourself to living your life with the clear eyes and open mind it deserves. And that's how we lead the most successful lives we can imagine. And that's how we give back to those in our lives who sacrifice so much just to give us a chance at this moment today. I know, like many of you, your family members sacrifice so much just to make sure that being here could be a possibility, especially my father, who immigrated from that great, great country, Jamaica, and not Jamaica, Queens. We are from Jamaica, Queens, though. But here I am, a college graduate like many of you, and we are so proud of you and all of your accomplishments. LaGuardia class of 2024, and to all your guardians, congratulations. We all believe in you. I cannot wait to watch how each and every one of you soars. And I'll end in just saying, Queens get the money. God bless you all. Congratulations, class of 2024. Go get them. Keep it hot.
Today, we are celebrating a milestone, a culmination of hard work, determination, and resilience that has brought us to this day and moment. Today, thank you. Today isn't just about celebrating this milestone, it's about embracing what the future holds for us. Prior to attending SLU, I attended 3 other colleges. Unfortunately, I had a death in my family. I tried to work through it, but my GPA started declining and suffering. So I took what I thought would have been a semester off to probably mourning grief, but a semester turned to years. Eventually, I contacted my former advisor, and she recommended that I apply to SLU. Applying to SLU has been one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life. Returning back to school and completing what I had started has been challenging but rewarding. In fact, my time here at SLU has been short of an amazing experience. Prior to SLU, I had no confidence whatsoever with my writing skills and research. But with proper help and guidance from my professors, I was able to build my skills and my confidence. So last semester, or two semesters ago, during my capstone course with Professor James Rodriguez, I put those skills into use by narrowing my research focus down to solitary confinement in U.S. prison. I came to the realization that our system was more broken than I thought in terms of mass incarceration, racial profiling, racial disparities, Professor Sophia Aptica's class also widened my knowledge about a lot about a lot of the urban social problems that most of us can relate to or have experienced, such as unemployment, infrastructure, climate change, housing problems, and the effects that redlining has left in our society. These causes have motivated me to work towards becoming a part of the solution rather than complaining about the problems. I'm just so grateful to my advisor for guiding me through my educational journey, as well as helping me meet my required academic goals. And to all my professors and the staff of CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies, thank you for creating such a safe, non-judgmental, and a positive learning environment. You all are really the true definition of an unsung hero. And to our family and friends who stood by us throughout this journey with their words of encouragement, love, and support, our immense gratitude goes to all of you. And finally, to my fellow graduates, once again, I say congratulations to all of us. SLU has lighted a candle in each and every one of us. And after today, let's all go out there and take the world by storm. Let those lighted candles shine bright and effect a positive change in our evolving world and society. Thank you.
I'm deeply honored to join with the Baruch class of 2024 on this wonderful day. But I did not accept this honor alone. I'm here because of the sacrifices, hard work, love, and support from my ancestors. From my grandfather, who traveled in 1922 as a young teen from Georgia to Northeast Ohio, driven from his home by segregation and racial violence in search of safety and opportunity with his older siblings up north. He worked multiple jobs, from farmer to custodian to movie usher to handyman, before landing a union job at a chemical refinery, where he worked through retirement. He was a strong believer that education would be a path forward to more opportunity for his children. This belief in the power of education was eventually passed down to me and has been central to my career. Indeed, it is part of what brought me to the American Museum of Natural History, which shares this core value. And my grandfather would pick me up from school, sit with me while I was doing homework, even help me with class projects. His oldest child, my mother, was a precocious student, finishing high school before 16. And my grandfather insisted that she have an opportunity to attend college herself, a somewhat radical stance for the late 1940s. Mom worked part-time jobs and took extra course loads in order to support her way through school and accelerate her graduation so that she could then help her sisters go to college. And then, as a single mother, she raised 3 sons, making sure we also had extra educational opportunities whenever possible, even while she was juggling work as a teacher with extra work in the evening. And for me, as a kid interested in science, that meant signing me up for weekend and summer activities at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, which is quite prescient considering my current role. My grandfather's no longer with us, and my mother suffers from advanced dementia, but they are with me in spirit today, and so this honor is their honor too. But it's not just my grandfather and my mother. My 2 older brothers were profound inspirations to me. I thought it was incredibly cool to have older brothers in college, and I would carry around their old textbooks to impress classmates. I'm not quite sure it had the effect I was looking for. When I was done with homework each afternoon, it was my grandmother who would be ready for a snack. She'd teach me card games with some very creative rules and introduce me to the wonderful world of soap operas. More importantly, they all cheered me on with each success, and they all encouraged me with each misstep or failure. My brothers and my grandmother are also no longer with us, yet they are here in spirit today, and this honor is their honor as well. But there are many others who brought me here. Teachers and mentors who guided me along my meandering scholarly and career path, and who continue to do so. My wife of over 30 years and our remarkable children, with whom I have shared times of joy and times of pain and loss. They draw me out and let me talk about my fears, which make those fears a lot more manageable. And they never doubt that I will overcome whatever barriers lie ahead. This is their honor as well. These are my stories, but I bet they're familiar to many of you who are members of the class of 2024. Today we recognize your incredible individual accomplishments during your time at Baruch. But all of us are here because of the support of family, friends, or teachers or mentors who made it possible, who lent a listening ear and supportive voice, who heard our fears and helped us through them, who made sacrifices to be there, whether in person or in spirit, in both happy and difficult times. And as we celebrate today, we are celebrating with and for them. The path ahead will bring joy and achievement, but will also bring hardship and loss. These are inevitable parts of being human and engaging deeply in the world and with others. How you meet, address, endure, and change by those challenges will help define you. And ultimately, the greatest way in which we honor those who support us is by being there for others, by offering our support to those around us, by listening, by encouraging, by refusing to doubt their abilities. As we navigate a world that puts an increased priority on speed over grace, where curiosity about others loses out to our eagerness to move on to the next task or the next shiny new thing, and where impatience is a daily reality, we should never lose sight of the importance of relationships, those past and those still with us, that sustain all of us together. Thank you again for this honor, and congratulations.
Good afternoon, faculty, esteemed guests, family, friends, and my fellow graduates of the class of 2024. I am honored to have been chosen as your class speaker at this momentous occasion. We've come together as a community to learn how to care for the world around us by learning how to care for each other, and along the way, to realize we have to care for ourselves. I'm so grateful to be a student at the CUNY School of Medicine and to have received so much support from my faculty and classmates all these years. During the first year of medical school, I experienced the devastating loss of my mother. As the oldest of four, I was no longer just a medical student. I was now a medical student and a motherless child with the responsibility of caring for myself and my siblings. My dreams felt insignificant, and I could not imagine how I could continue without my mother right by my side. There were times when I seriously considered letting go of my dreams. But in these moments when I felt so helpless, I am glad I leaned on others for support and guidance. They picked me up and gave me what I didn't know I needed. With the support from faculty, family, and friends, I'm here today, speaking at my medical school graduation, fulfilling my dreams as an incoming OBGYN in training, and making my mom proud. Thank you. We have all heard the horror stories of intern year and how challenging it can be on our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. On top of this, life continues to move on, and we will continue to experience heartbreak, loss, and hardship. During these times, I hope you lean on those around you. Your CUNY Med family surrounding you, your loved ones sitting behind you, and the new friends and family you continue to make along the way. Now I understand why people say medical school bonds you for life. In addition to the trauma bonding, the marathon study sessions at Harris Hall, fueled by caffeine and desperation, sprinting to the lounge for the last crumbs of free food, and competing on the basketball court during sports night, and eagerly awaiting the chance to mock our professors and sing, especially Tara's legendary impersonation of Dr. Kashfi in his classic yellow sweater. Then, that infamous day when we all found out we would be sent home because of something called the coronavirus, starting medical school in the midst of a global pandemic, struggling to learn anatomy online, internet crashes and glitches during lectures and exams, Zoom socialization, then finally and very eagerly getting back together for our clinical years. We are forever bound by our Sophie years of community as we became a part of each other's lives. For the first time in over 95% of our lives, we won't be students anymore. Well, graduate students, that is. But being in medicine means we'll forever be students. We'll keep on learning on the job, constantly challenging the ideas we thought we had mastered, whether it's staying updated on the latest research or adapting to new technology. The learning truly never stops. And let's not forget the valuable lessons we'll continue to learn each day from our patients. So while our time as formal students may be ending, our journey as lifelong learners in medicine is just beginning. Today we are students, but tomorrow begins our first full-time job as doctors. And what will that job entail? No biggie. We're merely just going to be responsible for saving the world, for real. Every graduating doctor since Hippocrates and Sushruta has faced a similar challenge, and each graduating class goes forth with its unique sets of assets weighed against its unique set of difficulties. The graduates of the first medical school in the United States, established in 1765 at the College of Philadelphia and now the University of Pennsylvania's Perelman School of Medicine, had to contend with epidemics like diphtheria, scarlet fever, smallpox, using largely symptomatic therapies like purgatives and emetics, and relying on drugs like mercury and opium. They addressed the terrifying rates of maternal and infant mortality with herbs. The graduates of 1945, grateful for the end of World War II, faced the specter of polio with no recognized treatment for viral infections. They relied on iron lungs, hot compresses, and isolation. The class of 1982 faced the scourge of AIDS, focusing on universal precautions, specialized wards, and experimental treatments. Thankfully, in the intervening years of research and development, all these issues have ceased to be the terrors they were. But we are besieged with a whole new set of problems, some that cannot be cured with a vaccine or pharmaceutical protocol. One of those problems is distrust of our ability to make the right decision to solve the problem. When my mother became a nurse, that uniform conferred on her a certain respect, for her knowledge, surely, and for her ability to fix the problem with a pill or Band-Aid. When we were young and we had strep throat or a broken arm or fell out of a tree, we went to the doctor, and at the end of the visit, it was all better. I got a lollipop. We all believe that the doctor has some kind of magical power, and that he, and yes, sadly usually was a he, knew all the answers, made an instantaneous and correct diagnosis to solve the problem, and prescribe the best drug/course of action. We had absolute faith. Wasn't House a regular medical Sherlock Holmes, neatly solving all those rare and unusual diseases in an hour? Cases and medical procedures that often take weeks or even months of treatment are neatly wrapped up on a Grey's Anatomy overnight. Maybe we were naive, but sometimes I think that naivety may have been helpful. We are charged with real life and death decisions. It's no longer a given that we absolutely know what we're doing. Recent articles and opinion pieces in the New York Times bemoan the widening lack of trust in us by the very patients we need to have it in order to secure them the best care. How can we build that trust back? I think it's by remembering two important facts. One, our patients are more than the problems they present. And two, not only are we doctors, we're also patients. And when we remember how it feels to be on the receiving end, we'll become better practitioners. We are faced with the benefits and detriments of the internet. With the proliferation of information, both accurate and faulty, universally available, patients often second-guess their doctors and undervalue their proffered information. Fallout from COVID-related problems, both real and not, have eroded faith in our profession. And that is a hurdle we will continue to fight in the foreseeable future. It might be crass to talk about money, but we graduate with an almost unimaginable debt as we enter the financial tentative world. That's the bad news, not for the good news. We have at our disposal tools the likes of which were mere science fiction 40 years ago. We have machines that can look into your heart, liver, bones, and analyze and report results without damaging anything. We can transplant a heart the size of a dime into the chest of a fetus. Got a bad knee, hip? We can give you a new one. Lose your eye in a car accident? We can transplant the entire eye. Heart disease is diagnosable and largely treatable. A simple blood test can tell if one of your organs is aging too rapidly. We can eradicate cancerous tumors into irradiate cancerous tumors into extinction without damaging surrounding tissues or organs. And we seem to be on our way to eliminating obesity. We have mapped the human genome and are learning how to address genetic mutations. Just this month, the United States initiated its first sickle cell gene therapy, giving a 12-year-old boy hope for a future. We have robots performing microsurgery, we have conquered maladies that once decimated our population, and unlike our predecessors, almost any piece of any kind of information is digitally available in seconds. It is not unreasonable to continue to expect breakthroughs to be made with increasing alacrity. At the rate we're going, the common code is toast. My high school English teacher wrote in my yearbook, "Take your considerable talent and go out and change the world." It is my sincerest honor to be the first to address you as my fellow doctors. Let's go change the world. Thank you.